Charles Lyell's groundbreaking Principles of Geology, 1830, seeks to explain the geological state of the modern Earth by considering the long-term effects of observable natural phenomena. It is both a seminal work of modern geology and a compelling precursor to Darwinism, speculating on radical changes in climate and geography across the ages and exploring the evidence for the progressive development of life. A profound influence on evolutionary theory, Principles of Geology also captured the imagination of contemporaries such as Melville, Emerson, Tennyson, and George Eliot, transforming science with its depiction of the powerful forces that shape the natural world. Sample. The earliest doctrines of the Indian and Egyptian schools of philosophy agreed in ascribing the first creation of the world to an omnipotent and infinite being. They concurred also in representing this being who had existed from all eternity as having repeatedly destroyed and reproduced the world and all its inhabitants. In the sacred volume of the Hindus, called the Ordinances of Menu, comprising the Indian system of duties religious and civil, we find a preliminary chapter treating of the creation in which the cosmogony is known to have been derived from earlier writings and traditions, and principally from certain hymns of high antiquity called the Vedas. These hymns were first put together, according to Mr. Colebrook, in a connected series about 13 centuries before the Christian era, but they appear from internal evidence to have been written at various antecedent periods. In them, as we learn from the researches of Professor Wilson, the eminent Sanskrit scholar, two distinct philosophical systems are discoverable. According to one of them, all things were originally brought into existence by the sole will of a single first cause, which existed from eternity. According to the other, there have always existed two principles, the one material but without form, the other spiritual and capable of compelling inert matter to develop its sensible properties. This development of matter into individual and visible existences is called creation and is assigned to a subordinate agent, or the creative faculty of the Supreme Being embodied in the person of Brahma. In the first chapter of the Ordinances of Menu above alluded to, we meet with the following passages relating to former destructions and renovations of the world. Quote, "The being whose powers are incomprehensible, having created me, Menu, and this universe, again became absorbed in the Supreme Spirit, changing the time of energy for the hour of repose. When that power awakes, then has this world its full expansion. But when he slumbers with a tranquil spirit, then the whole system fades away. For while he reposes, as it were, embodied spirits endowed with principles of action depart from their several acts, and the mind itself becomes inert." End quote. The absorption of all beings into the supreme essence is then described, and the divine soul itself is said to slumber and to remain for a time immersed in the first idea or in darkness. After which the text thus proceeds, verse 57, quote, "Thus the immutable power, by waking and reposing alternately, revivifies and destroys in eternal succession this whole assemblage of locomotive and immovable creatures." End quote. It is then declared that there has been a long succession of manvantaras, or periods each of the duration of many thousand ages, and, quote, "There are creations also and destructions of worlds innumerable. The being supremely exalted performs all this with as much ease as if in sport, again and again for the sake of conferring happiness." End quote. No part of the Eastern cosmogony from which these extracts are made is more interesting to the geologist than the doctrine so frequently alluded to of the reiterated submersion of the land beneath the waters of universal ocean. In the beginning of things, we are told, the first sole cause with a thought created the waters, and then moved upon their surface in the form of Brahma the Creator, by whose agency the emergence of the dry land was effected, and the peopling of the earth with plants, animals, celestial creatures, and man.